So the question is, am I too old to be hiking and backpacking?
Hell no, because I've just begun.
That is for sure. I've just begun. So what I want to do in this video is I'm going to go over some exercises I do, some equipment that is needed, certain other items that I'm going to show you that have made life as a backpacker and hiker in your later stages in life work a lot better for you. So, disclaimer. If you do any kind of exercise routine, always check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a healthcare practitioner. Hell, I'm not a farmer, carpenter, electrician, and plumber, or even an astronaut. But that's not going to mean that I'm not going to give you my 2 cents on all this. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through, show you what I do in some exercises first to keep these knees going, the shoulder going, a lot of these parts of my body that after a while all you late age senior type people, men and women out there will know that you got to keep doing this in order to keep hiking and doing something that, I mean, this is my passion, so I have no desire to quit. Keep it going, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Go grab yourself some popcorn. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
I'm just going to give you 2 instances where this older body comes into play. Number 1. You're coming into camp, or you've been hiking all day. Could be 10, 15 miles. You're tired, your feet are tired and sore, your ankles are sore, your calves are sore, your hamstrings are sore, your glutes are sore. Everything's sore on your body, and all you want to do is sit down. So you get to campsite or along the way, and this is what you got. You've got a Z-seat, and there's no rocks around to sit on, there's no logs around to sit on, there's just the ground. And here's what happens to me.
Maybe it's time to carry a camp chair.
Now, example number 2. You wake up from a good night's sleep, you pack up, it's a little tough getting up, but most of the aches and pains seem to have disappeared overnight with a good night's sleep. So you get up and you have that first cup of coffee. Yeah, a little bit of breakfast maybe, but then that second cup of coffee, then I gotta go. My morning constitution. Now this becomes a real circus. Check these things out. Here's a method the young guys use. Just squat and do your thing. Not for me. Oh, and you gotta love the grab a tree method. Again, not for me. How about the old double trekking pole trick? Yeah, I've seen this before actually. I haven't really seen it, but I've heard about it. But not for me either. Shangri-La, finally, my spot. This is my place to go. Check it out. Well, that's a couple examples of my life in backpacking. I don't care. It's all part of the fun. It's all part of the adventure. But this is what I do to try to train, to get my body in a better shape, and to try to be able to tackle these chores or whatever you want to call them at my age, and continue and be able to constantly be able to get out there and do this, which I passionately love. So this is some of the examples of, a routine that I do maybe 4 times a week, sometimes 5, whenever I have time. And even more important than all that is to get out there and walk, and just walk and hike, and find yourself a place locally that you live around, and just get out there and keep walking and walking. That's right, and more walking, and more walking. Just keep walking. That's right, that's what I said, just keep walking. Don't stop, keep walking. I know you're probably saying, well, I don't want to go to a gym. I can't afford to go to a gym. But you older folks out there that are actually on Medicare, it's free. A lot of these gyms are free. There's things out there called silver sneakers. They call them some other things. But check with your local clubs, because when you reach that age, it's part of your Medicare, and it's free. And you should take advantage of it. There's a lot of other things you want to consider also. Stretching is so important. Stretching before you hike, during your hike, and definitely after you hike. The other thing too is after you come back from a hiking trip, it could have been a 4 or 5 day hiking trip, and I mean you're spent. At an older age, your body tends to recover a lot longer than you normally would when you're younger. So take that time and let that body recover before you get back into training again for your next hike. Let's talk about equipment. Personally, I think I've said this in past videos, it's not necessarily a preference for me, but it's definitely a necessity. Now it seems like I do prefer it. And what I'm getting at is, I think as you get older, you got to take the time and you got to spend the money to buy some ultralight equipment. I went from an Osprey Atmos 65, I think it was Osprey, here's a picture of that, down to a Z-Pax Arcol. Lost a tremendous amount of weight with that. Also went from a hike and bike, extra long, extra wide, full down, wasn't even that much down in it, sleeping bag, which weighed 3.5 pounds, down to an Alight & Equipment quilt. Which I just absolutely love. The other thing I went from I had a Morrison, what was it called? A Mountainsmith. Morrison tent. It was a freestanding tent with poles, the fly and all that on it. I think that came in at about 6.5 pounds. Since then now I've gone down to that light Lanshan 2. Tent, which is a little over 2.5 pounds, and just recently I'm starting to fall in love with a 9.5 ounce tarp from Bora-Gear. I truly have lightened my load almost 8 or 9 pounds just from the 3 big items. And there's a few other things too that you could lighten your load. It just makes sense. It just makes sense not to have that impact on your knees and your back and your neck and your feet. If you're into this sport, if you're into hiking, backpacking, I definitely spend the money and go ultralight the best you can. You'll feel it in the long run. So with a wrap on this now, guys, again, I just think that this is something personally for me. Everybody has their own physical needs or physical handicaps or whatever you want to call it, but just do the best you can. If you love this sport and you want to get out there and hike, make sure your body's ready for it, and take the time to go out and do whatever it takes to get out there. So if you found anything in this video that you enjoyed, hit that like button. Hit the share button, hit that notification bell. And you know what? My subscriptions are free. This is a free subscription. So please subscribe to my channel. I've got some more YouTube videos coming up where right now, it's late February. I'm looking in March to get up to maybe the Smoky Mountains, and also in April to get up in that area again, or maybe even the Foothills Trail again. I'm actually going to do an overnight kayaking trip. I keep saying that, but I am going to do that. So, hey guys, thank you very much for watching, and keep following Walker's World. And like I said, free subscriptions. Hit that button. Bye.